Hey everyone, it's Eric Huey, host of the Gen Y Leaders Podcast, where we prepare millennials to be leaders of the future. Now, if you're familiar with the podcast, you know that it's usually interview-based, and we tell the success stories of high-performing millennials. Each time, I tend to ask a couple of the same questions. Not all the same questions, because that would be a boring podcast, but there are a key 1 to 2 questions that I ask every guest on the show. And one of those is, what books or resources have made a positive impact in your life or in your business? Books are such incredible resources because they take years upon years of people's successes and failures and condense them into a few hours of reading. The mission of the book breakdown is to take those few hours of reading and then further condense them into 15 minutes or less of listening. This is the Gen Y Leader Podcast Book Breakdown.
Hello, my name is Kirsten Brown, and I am the founding principal of Crossroads Preparatory Academy. It is a charter middle and high school in the heart of downtown Kansas City, Missouri. So the book that I am reviewing today, I'm really excited about. It is called Start With Why. It's by Simon Sinek. And this was a book that was assigned to me. I'm in a school leadership program, and it is such a pivotal book for leaders. And I think that everyone is a leader in their context. And so I think that there's so many applicable ideas and principles from this book that could be applied in any field for anyone. So this book is really about how to ensure that you are compelling and inspiring so that whatever it is that you stand for, whatever it is that you're attempting to do, has a following that is sustainable. And so that you have people who are working to support you in the work that you're doing, and people who are excited and energized because you have a deep understanding of the why or the purpose behind what you do. A lot of organizations have a sense of what they do. They can name what they do, but the how, the deep rationale and purpose is often not clear or understood or even known. And I think the book is great because not only does it discuss the why and why a leader must be clear on the why, it discusses why every stakeholder associated with the organization needs to know the why, from the customers to the employees to the collaborators and the community at large. When there's a deep sense of why, more people are going to be drawn to it for the long term and committed to whatever your mission and vision is. Furthermore, a deep sense of why allows one to create a really strong vision and mission that's compelling and that will afford a strong following, because people are attracted to belief. And if your belief aligns to theirs, you're going to have an opportunity to have a strong influence and a strong following and gain traction and growth that is sustainable and that is has an ability to strengthen over time because of that strong mission that is greater than oneself or greater than the organization at large. I want to take a moment now to discuss some key takeaways or some aha moments from this text. And there are so many key takeaways, so it was hard for me to distill it down to just a few. I want to talk more about the goal. It's not to give you a course of action. It is to offer you the cause of action. And this is on page 7. And it's really short and it's seemingly simple, but there's so much depth and value in that statement. So when one creates a goal, it's not about the course of action, how you're going to achieve that goal. Yes, that's important, but the critical and most important thing to determine first is what causes you to have the action, what causes the goal, and the path that you'll eventually take. When you have a strong why or cause or reason, everything else falls into place. For example, when you have a deep understanding of the purpose, you'll determine the steps you need to make to create that to make that goal a reality far more than when you have the steps you need to take and then you need to figure out the goal first. The why must always come first. The other point that is really important that I want to point out is on page 43 of the text. It says, and I quote, it is that clear correlation between what they do and why they do it that makes Apple stand out. This is the reason we perceive Apple as being authentic. Everything they do works to demonstrate their why, to challenge the status quo. Regardless of the products they make or industry in which they operate, it is always clear that Apple thinks different, unquote. And so one thing that is really powerful about this book is it provides so many examples of powerful, sustainable growth and visibility and following within organizations such as Apple. And it distills down the key reasons why they are so prolific. And it always goes down to the why and the fine nuances of the why that makes it so powerful. And so people love Apple products, and oftentimes it has nothing to do with the products. Yes, the products are important, but really at the heart of it, it's because of the why, the purpose behind the mission of Apple. And the products are kind of the vehicle in which that's realized. But people who want to think different associate themselves with Apple. People have such allegiance and pride towards being Apple users for that reason, that deep why that is conveyed throughout to its customers, to its employees even. Think about going into an Apple store. The employees are often so proud of where they work because they identify with the greater mission and purpose of Apple. It's deeper than just selling products. So another key takeaway that I love is that really hit home for me as I read through this text was on page 127. It talks about Dr. Martin Luther King, who had a deep sense of purpose and why, and a great following, and it created a movement that was sustained and impactful. Page 127 says, and I quote, "But Dr. King was absolute in his conviction. He knew change had to happen in America. His clarity of why, his sense of purpose, gave him the strength and energy to continue his fight against often seemingly insurmountable odds. There are others like him who shared his vision of America, but many of them gave up after too many defeats. Defeat is painful, and the ability to continue head on day after day takes something more than knowing what legislation needs to be passed. For civil rights to truly take hold in the country, its organizers had to rally everyone. They may not have been able to pass legislation, but they needed more than that. They needed to change a country. Only if they could rally a nation to join the cause, not because they had to, but because they wanted to. Could any significant change endure? But no one person can affect lasting change alone. It would take others who believe what King believed." And I'm going to end the quote there, because what resonated with King even and other great leaders was their deep sense of why. And they had it so ingrained into what they believed and how they responded and how they navigated through life. And when challenges, which are of course inevitable, arose, they were able to tackle them head on and persist in the face of adversity because they knew their purpose, and their purpose propelled them even when it seemed impossible. The thing about this book is that it provides so many other examples of great leaders that persisted despite challenges, that made the impossible possible because of the why. Transformative leaders must have a why. This book deeply unpacks the key components that are high impact when crafting and living out a why, and ensuring that all stakeholders have clarity around the why so that impact change, progress, sustainability, and growth can become a reality. So, my call to action is to think deeply about what is your why, what is your purpose as a person, what do you believe, and how can you use what you do, the work that you do, how you live your life to ensure that that aligns to that why. If what you're doing career-wise or decisions you're making don't align to that why, it's probably not what you need to be doing. And it helps you live with greater integrity as a result. So, to that end, I challenge everyone to think deeply about their why, about their purpose, and to read Simon Sinek's book, Start With Why. It'll help you to create a sense of greater clarity around your why and how to live it out, how to communicate it, and how to make greater sense of it. So, I want to thank you all for listening and say goodbye. If you'd like to reach out to me, I'd love to connect. My name is Kirsten Brown. You can email me at kbrown@crossroadsschoolskc.org. So it's a little bit of a tricky email because Crossroads is plural and schools is plural. So you'll see 2 S's next to each other when you type in that email. I'd love to connect and discuss how the work that I do as a school leader within Kansas City really helps to live out my why, and how if you have any part of your purpose that aligns to transforming the next generation of our nation through the leadership of young people, I'd love to partner with you and discuss how our mutual whys can connect and create impact. Thank you so much and have a great day.